Yeah, well, thank you very much. You know, one of the things, the fun things about being a museum director is occasionally something happens in your day, and it's not very many days this doesn't happen, where somebody walks in the door with a really amazing story. And this happened about 2 years ago. This guy walked in and he said, because we had an exhibit here with a couple of pictures of Camp Desert Rock out here at the test site years ago. And this guy walked in and he says, "That's me in that picture." And I said, "Really?" And so he was interested in getting a copy of it. So the more that one of my admissions people talked with him, the more that we realized that he had an amazing story that was directly connected with the test site. His name is Al Sue, and Al lives in Honolulu, Hawaii, and is with us today because I asked him, because one of the things that happens in the business of a museum, and also in what we're talking about with patriotism and people, is sometimes the people story gets a little lost. So Al's one of those people who's got a people story I think you'd be kind of interested in, and I wanted him to be here today in person to tell us, because I think he may be as fascinated with it as I was, and I hope that just like my day that was made when I first met Al years ago, yours may be enriched a little bit by this story as well. So it's a pleasure to introduce Al Sue, 82nd Airborne Division Parachute.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. It's just an honor to be here. You know, I'm just a grunt. And but I was put in the position where I experienced what I had experienced. And I'm grateful for this. And I'm grateful for this country. By the way, you know, when Alan called me, he said that we were going to talk on some from my experience. And I told him that this was a great honor, and I was glad he didn't ask me to sing. No, really, because the last time I was asked to sing was at a funeral. Yeah, really, because this person knew that I knew the song, "Near My God to Lead My Heart," and the original singer was not there. For some reason, he wasn't there. So he asked, "Oh, would you sing the song?" Because I know you know the song well. I said, "Well, I know the song," and so I sung the song. It was so bad. I never want to do that again because the organist just quit playing. And I kept singing. And after I sang, and it was bad, it was like, I mean, really bad. But anyway, I think the family that was grieving this town, thank you so much for singing, because after we heard you sing, we realized that there's some things in life that's worse than death. Thanks. No. Okay, thank you. Yeah. Now you can all hear me, okay? Okay. Anyway, I am so happy to be here. I love this country very much. Through my father, Joseph Sale. I can actually pronounce it Sale. Sue is close enough, because in the army they call me Sue. Sue. Anyway, he fought in the First World War. He was 19 at the time, in France, and had 7 campaigns. He came back home. And when the Second World War started, my brother was old enough to be in. I was a little too young then. But he said, none of my son will be drafted. None of my son will be drafted. What he meant was, you're going to volunteer. You volunteer. He was a patriot, and he loved his country. And so when the Korean War started, it was natural for me to volunteer. So I went in. And see, I was a shoe shine boy before, as a kid during the war days. And we saw in Hawaii, there's a lot of service personnel. It's a place where they cross over to Japan, campaigners, and we used to shine shoes. And I noticed that the paratroopers were the sharpest guys there. And I said, gee, who are these people? We just want to shine your shoes and boots on it. But I never did. And so when I found out what they did, who they are, where they're going to go, they jumped in New Guinea. And they were combat troops. And at that age, I was about 13, 12, 13, 14. I knew I wanted to be a paratrooper. I people. And so when the plane was starting to the captain told me to go in. And it's very interesting side thing. About 99% of these young men in 1950, when I went in, never been in an airplane, never been in an airplane, never been in an airplane before, and never been touched with, for that matter. Because it was a first experience for us. So I said, why were we doing that? Well, it's because of the, they say no guts, no glory. Yeah, we were the kind of guys that want to experience excitement, something different. So anyway, the 82nd Airborne was asked to participate in the jump in 1952. I always remember the day, April 22nd. I think it was the 504 Parachute Infantry Regiment. And company, Ed Fox Company and George Company. I was going to ask, how many of you were in that company? I really want to see some of you, if there's any. You please raise your hand. No, I don't see any. Well, that's too bad, because it seems like, I lost some friends there. They had cancer and things like that. But anyway, but it didn't even look good. Because I think it reserved, you see, I'm about 82, well, I'm 83. But I feel another day will come. And I think I owe it to that Robert Eucharist. No, I'm just being facetious now. But it was exciting. And so there were about maybe 2 companies, which comprises almost 300 people that jumped that day. We were 3 miles from ground zero with the other soldiers and Marines. And I experienced the most exciting time because the countdown from 10 to 0, I anticipated that explosion, but I never thought it would be that exciting. The sound was so great. And all of a sudden I felt the heat that came over us. And I could feel that it was hot. But we were in the trenches, 3 miles from ground zero. And as I looked up, this high, in this angle, I could see the rolling donut, the fiery donut overhead, fiery donut, huge. I wish I had a camera to take a picture of it, but I've never seen anything like that. And so after the bomb exploded, in about 25, 30 minutes, they asked these 2 companies of paratroopers to go onto the trucks they'll drive us to the airstrip. Now, how long that drive was, I don't know. It was so long ago, but it wasn't very long. And there were probably about 20 airplanes to fit 300 people. We were C-47s. And so we came over the drop zone, or the ground zero, and there was a West Point graduate, a Lieutenant Miller. I never forgot that name. He wasn't in our airplane. He was in the airplane back of us. Lieutenant Miller. We call him 1 Mile Miller because he jumped off the plane 1 mile before the drop zone. Because someone said, "Gung ho." He said, "Well, let's go." And he went out, and so the rest of the troops, I was told, they said, "Well, heck, let's get out of here. Go with him." But our airplane got to target okay. We came over target. And I remember I was the 3rd man out of the airplane. And there were about, I would say, 20 people, 12 or 13 on each side of the airplane with 2 doors. We exited within, I think each man wouldn't take more than half a second. And we got to the door, boom, shoot up the door. And so the first thing I yelled was, "Go for broke." That's my slogan. Go for broke. Just shout up the anxiety, the statement, so they give me that courage. So we jumped down. And as I felt it, see, usually the parachute drop on T7 parachutes are very shallow. It was a Second World War parachute. And so when it opened, it has a tremendous shock. Pow! And so, but this time I didn't feel anything. And so I saw something was not quite right. So I looked up, and sure